Hey guys, Robert Jaggers here, and welcome to the very first episode of the long-awaited Millsaps Webcast, or as I like to call it, the Millcast. This web show is directed towards students of Millsaps College. In each show, I'll report on many things, ranging from the goings-on within the SBA Senate, upcoming events, student organizations, and from time to time respond to some of the opinion articles within the student newspaper, The Purple and White. So once again, welcome, and let's get this started. Some of you may remember last semester that there was this big discussion about smoking on campus, especially around high traffic areas. As a result, the Senate set up a survey to get a feel on what the thoughts of the students are in regards to public smoking and what to do about it, if anything. There was some response to the survey, a mere 88 participants. Though most of the participants were for establishing public smoking zones, two issues came about. Number one, the participation rate was too small. Now some attributed that to apathy, while some, including myself, think it is somewhat the fault of the executive board. In the first survey attempt, it wasn't sent to everyone, and correctly so, the executive board fixed the error and sent the survey out again. However, there were a few things wrong with this. Firstly, the timing of the survey was towards the latter half of the semester, where academic pressure on students is at its peak. Admittedly, this was not the fault of the executive board. In fact, the issue itself arose around the same time period. Secondly, the survey was sent via email, in a time where student apathy towards email is at an all-time high. Or is it low? Whatever. Due to a barrage of departmental ads for programs many students are not interested in. Thirdly, the survey was sent via student news. Now, the student newsletter, that just like the rest of most email, has low viewership. Now, the ironic thing about this is that the newsletter was created to consolidate all those ads, as you might call them, into one email, and thereby reducing the email barrage, as it were. However, here's the thing. The email legislation that birthed this newsletter was passed during the fall semester of 2009, if I remember correctly. The following spring, it was doing fine, more or less. However, one full year later, which is last fall, the student news is there, yet the barrage seems to have increased to higher levels to what they were prior to the implementation of this email legislation. The second issue about the smoking issue is that the action we plan to take does not only impact the students. Otherwise, the original legislation, which would instantly establish the public smoking zones, would have been passed without the blinking of an eye. However, since this action would include the reining in of both faculty and staff, we have to take steps more cautiously. Why? Well, it is basically the fallout from the email legislation, which was implemented first, and then the Senate tries to bring the faculty into line, which is really tough to do when you're a student. This is why, if you read the minutes from that particular meeting, we passed what seemed to be a passive piece of legislation. This way, we can get all of our ducks in a row first, before coming up with that long-lost perfect bill that will solve this issue. Now, last Monday marked the first Senate session of the spring semester, and in that first session, one item of business was presented. I am a senator. I presented a legislation that would allow the placement of two video cameras in the Senate session, and the recorded footage would then be uploaded to the in-house TV channel, Channel 18. This is something I thought would be a slam dunk. However, I was caught off guard by the criticism this piece of legislation took. Firstly, the legislation called for the usage of 2 of the cameras from the library. The problem with this is that I didn't talk to the library administrator to work out the kinks, if any, before writing this legislation. Now, that was my fault. However, something like this normally results in a tabling of the bill until all of my ducks were in a row, and they would represent it later. However, there was some direct criticism of the legislation itself. Firstly, the students would not waste time watching an hour of video, whereas they could easily look over the Senate minutes that are sent out, or that if students were interested in watching it on Channel 18, then they'd also attend the meetings. Okay, first, if you're going to suddenly get realistic about this, you also have to realize that hardly anyone reads the Senate minutes or attends the meetings. The former because it comes to the student body via email, which I already belabored to you earlier. And the latter because the meetings are conducted at 9 o'clock on Monday nights, or even some senators are having trouble attending at that time. However, it was Senator Cantrell that rightly retorted by saying, "It doesn't matter if only just one student watches it. It is our job to make it available to them." Right on. The second criticism: the cameras would take too long to set up before each meeting. Now, in the meeting, I answered as following. I said that, admittedly, the first or second time, it might take up to 20 to 30 minutes to set up, because we would be doing a new concept, something we haven't done before. However, once we learned what exactly we have to do, which item goes where, and so forth, then it would take at most 5 to 10 minutes to set up. The third criticism: it would take a whole video team to do the editing process. Now, I was not able to answer this criticism within the meeting because the first vice president motioned to vote before the debate had finished. However, here's my response now. I have made videos at various lengths with varying degrees of difficulty in regards to the editing that is required for such videos. Now, this may seem overwhelming to someone who has never made a video before, but given how simple the video editing would be, which I did explain in the meeting, would at most require some cutting out of footage if something was stricken from the record. It would take 2 hours max if the meeting lasts for 1 hour, for an example, which is the typical length of a Senate meeting. Now, the legislation allowed a 48-hour window before it had to be uploaded to Channel 18. This is ample time for editing. In contrast, when I had to edit for the Trouble in Paradise show for the Society for the Advancement of Electronic Culture, aka SAC, to present on Channel 18, that colossal beast took about 12 hours total, and anything that we record in the Senate is nothing compared to that. So it can be done easily and swiftly. The fourth criticism: after I graduate, who would take it up? This question really got on my nerves. Firstly, the legislation put the responsibility on the Senate Development Committee. And for some reason, many senators started to take the literal approach and take it to mean that the members of the Senate Development Committee, and only those members, would be stuck with having to edit the video and so forth. However, I left the phrasing vague enough to allow the Senate Development Committee to go outside of the committee as far as editing the video. Now, a question was raised about if we brought someone in, then we'd have to pay them and so forth. This is not true. We could easily ask a student organization to help if none of the Senate Development members were willing or able to edit the videos. But wait, do we have a student organization that deals with the creation and editing of videos on a regular basis? Let me think. Oh yes, it's SAKE. Every single member of SAKE, more or less, knows how to use a camera professionally, how to edit the video in a timely manner, and you do not have to pay them. Although if they did help the Senate with this, it would be nice if they got a little bump in their budget requests. But yes, is the simple answer to that. However, the book hasn't been entirely closed on the camera legislation yet, as President Laura Domain is creating an ad hoc committee to look into viable alternatives, which I will keep an ever-watchful eye over. Because one way or another, there will be cameras in those Senate meetings, and you as students will see it on Channel 18. I believe that's all I have to discuss about this time. So that pretty much wraps it up, the very first Millcast. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, either on the subjects I talked about, or any subject at all that deals with Millsaps, then you can either comment or leave a video response, or you could send me a private message via the YouTube message system, or if you are a Millsaps student, you can easily find my email address and send me an email. Though I am the senator that represents the off-campus independents, I am willing to listen to your concerns, as well as notify your elected representative and make sure that it gets addressed. Also, if you want your organization to be included in the Millcast, say if you want to advertise for an event, then let me know via email, and I'll be sure to put it on the next episode. Also, again, I am in the works of establishing a Millsaps-based blog, and I'll inform you of that in the next episode should it be done and set up by then, which it most likely will. However, the Millcast will be done bi-monthly, meaning basically every other week. If you enjoy this video and would want to see my other web show, The Logical Paradise Show, the next episode of that will be posted next week. Okay, and I think that's it for now. So remember, keep it clean and keep thinking. Happened as quickly as I would have liked it, but it